he was telling me, he said, motorcycle is clean. And I said, Pop, what do you mean by that? He said, there's corruption in where I work.
Oh.
And so, but motorcycle, there's nothing, little if nothing going on. And I like that. I like that environment.
This is gonna hurt. It's time for the Suffering Podcast.
Our destiny is written well before we realize what it is. Sometimes it's right in front of our face. Often it's hiding in plain sight and may even be hidden in a location you never thought to look. Our job as we grow is to search. When we find our path, it just feels right. There will be doubt, there will be suffering, but there will always be realignment because everything you do leads you in the direction you're supposed to travel. Along that journey, apathy is a destiny killer. Each day we must strive to be better than we were the previous one. The only way to maximize your place in this world is to work and grow. I'm Kevin Donaldson here with Mike Falaise, and welcome to the Suffering Podcast. If you're a fan of overcoming adversity and overcoming suffering, then we're for you because that's the stories we highlight and that's what we do here. So do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, please comment, ring the bell so you can get notified of all of our new content. Now you can join. Follow us on all social media so you can find out what we're up to. And on this episode of the Suffering Podcast, we welcome in a weary traveler all the way from sunny California.
Yeah, what brings you to Jersey? Jeez. And you should have invited us out there. We would have come did the show from there.
Damn, it was raining all day.
And tonight we welcome Kenneth Strange to discuss the suffering of the Secret Service. Kind of gives it away what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I was wondering what he was here for.
We were honored to have you in here. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Before we get into anything, let's throw a big shout out to our marquee sponsor. That's Toyota of Hackensack. We don't trust anybody as police, but we do trust them. So go to toyotahackensack.com and let them find you a car. So, Ken, each week we take a question from our audience. This question comes from Finger626. Was there ever a time in your career that you got it wrong? You spent a long time in enforcing the law in one form or another in many different aspects, and you're a human being. So your assumptions start off one way and you're going down a path, and next thing you know, you're like, oh, man, I really got that one wrong. Did that ever happen to you?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm in the FBI. I'm on the JTTF in Newark, New Jersey. And we had some Middle Eastern fella call into I think it was the White House or someplace, and or he may have even been in touch with the Iraqis, and we had intercepted it. And it was kind of like what he was going to do to the Bushes, the father, George Herbert Bush. And so, he said, I can smoke the guy, I can smoke the president, and some other congressman and maybe a senator, whatever. So that got our attention, and especially because we had on the JTTF, we had a Secret Service agent there as well. So, he had a vested interest in this. So, we kind of rolled out on this phone. We, found out where the phone call came, and we're digging around. We found out this guy is living in Rutherford, and
Wow,
and he's got like a delicatessen coffee shop or something in Newark. So we were able to identify him and start surveillance. So, I speak some Arabic. I lived in the Middle East, and we had a acting supervisor at the time. So I'm the new guy, but I said, hey, look, I'll be happy to do kind of a limited undercover thing. All I have to do is, get some books, go down to his store, walk in civilian clothes and say, I'm a graduate student, doing Arabic studies, something like that, and start talking to the guy. So they said, okay, we have units down there. They'll be watching you. Be careful. Get what you can. Come on back, and we'll go from there. So I go down there. I walk into his shop, and I'm looking around for things like, Bush's picture up there on a dartboard or something. Anything that might give it away. But in fact, it was a very calm place, and then they saw the subject. His name is Jamal, and so I kind of, went into my Middle East thing. How are you doing? Salamu alaikum, kef halak, all of this stuff. Just chit chat in Arabic, and that got his attention. got his interest. And so he was like, "Oh, wow, you speak Arabic? That is so." I worked in Saudi Arabia. I was a teacher, which I was. Yeah, that's how I picked up my Arabic. So we start talking, and I'm asking him, "Where are you from?" He says, "Kuwait. I was brought up in Kuwait." Oh, okay. And then he starts divulging stuff because he feels comfortable with me, and he doesn't suspect who I am. And he says, I'm ex-military. I was down at Fort Benning. So I'm a naturalized U.S. citizen. So I'm thinking, whoa, that's interesting.
It's a pretty big deal.
Good to know after the threats he's made, right? So we had that, and then we're just kind of talking, shooting the shit, and he says, and this is just before the Gulf War, the first Gulf War, in like 90.
91.
91. It was 91. And so he says, I hate the Kuwaitis. I'm really with Saddam Hussein on this. He's got, he's got every right to roll into Kuwait and take it over. They've, those Kuwaitis, they're these rich people, and they're spoiled, and they've stolen the oil wells from the Iraqis. And so you could see where his animus was coming from. So it all started to make sense. And then he said, please, Mr. And, I think I said I was Richard. Mr. Richard, please come back. I want to meet you again. And I said, yeah, I can do that. He goes, please. He hands me a piece of paper. Please write your name, your phone number. So I wrote, Mr. Richard, my cover name. And then about all the way through writing my phone number, and I kind of looked at the phone number, and he took it, and I said, oh, shit. That's my phone number, my real phone number. I hadn't thought it all the way through. And I'm not worried about, this clown. I'm worried about what's going to happen when I get back to the squad area. So, anyway, ma salama, let's stay in touch. Jamal, I see the surveillance, the SOG units going around, that type of thing. So I get back into the, I guess it's... down there by the train station where we used to work. Now it's, I think, in another part of Newark. So I go up to the squad area. It's a C-10 squad, JTTF. And, and I said, well, there's good news and there's bad news. Now, here's the good news. Yeah. Look, he said this, that, and, and they're like, wow, that's cool, that's good, way to go, Strange. And bad news? And I said, I gave him my real phone number. Oh, my God. The acting supervisor went through he just ripped me a new one. And I knew it. I just kind of hung my head. Oh, shit. And so he went on and on and on. And the case agent, he's kind of like, oh, damn it, the new guy. Strange, aptly named.
I was figured you get your balls busted more than anything else.
Yeah. Well, they were very serious, and and then the supervisor said, you put your whole family at risk, and okay, enough. It just went on, and it was a hard lesson to learn. I should have thought it all the way through, even taking the paper out of the guy's hand, and look, let's start again.
Yeah, but then you blow it, so you're trying to play it cool.
Yeah, cool.
Oh, that's my old phone number.
Right.
I just got a new phone.
Yeah, right.
Mike, what do you think?
I never made a mistake.
Yeah.
Now, we had when I was in the bureau, we had a robbery investigation, and I was dead set it was this one guy. I was dead set. I wasn't even looking at other leads. It was just, when you get so fixated on something.
Sure.
Tunnel vision.
It's the guy. I know it. It fits his MO. This is the... Wasn't him.
Oh, jeez.
We never locked him up or anything, but I was, like I said...
You wasted a lot of time doing
wasted
that.
a hell of a lot of time.
Yeah.
You know where I first noticed it? When I was brand new. I walked into a domestic. That's basically, we had a lot of domestics. Ooh. And the woman comes up to me, and I'm not ragging on men or women or anything. It's not about that. But the woman comes up to me. I want a domestic. I want a TRO. I want a TRO. I want a temporary restraining order. And I'm a new officer. I'm like, okay, well, I get the story. I'm like, we start going through the paperwork and stuff. And years later, I see the guy it destroyed his life. But I find out the truth later on through different avenues that the woman, this was a well thought out plan by her to get the TRO, to get him out of the house.
Okay.
And it taught me something. I was so fixated on trying to protect the woman in a domestic violence incident. I didn't look at the big picture of everything. And I came back and it sort of skewed me a little bit. So my rule of thumb was if somebody comes up running to get a temporary restraining order,
Yeah.
I'll look at it a little closer. But the one that I take very seriously is that woman who goes, no, I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to do anything, because they're the ones who really
they're the ones who
Need
really
it, right? They need it. Yeah.
You know, now there's a couple of them. You know, you lock this person up for drunk driving or doing something like that, and you watch their life spiral out of control,
Sure, wow.
knowing that you had a little hand in it. And I never felt good about
Yeah,
that.
that bothered me a lot.
Yeah.
throughout the career.
I can see that happening.
Especially, because I lived in the town that I worked in. So, sometimes you were locking up people.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you would. You knew
we
that.
went on a domestic. We go in there, and the guy goes, yeah, I just found out my wife's having sex with her high school boyfriend.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
You were a high school boyfriend?
No. The next day, I go to my son's Little League game, and here's the two parents.
I know, it's awkward.
They're
awkward,
playing
right?
Little League. The kid,
Oh, my
their
goodness.
son plays Little League with
Yeah.
my son. You're thrust into other people's lives,
Yeah.
and it's just like,
Yeah, you know all their secrets, right? Wow.
But you learn those things, and that takes experience. And it's
Right.
experience that when you're brand new out there, you have a lot of book knowledge, but you just don't have the street experience.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
it takes some time.
Yeah, sure.
Take some time.
Absolutely.
So Finger626, thank you for sending that one in. Keep sending in your questions. We will try to get them on the air. And we want all of our audience to go to Cubita Cafe, 234 Franklin Avenue in Nutley. They have the most delicious food there, top-level chef. Mike was just there
yeah, I was there about a couple weeks ago now.
a couple weeks. And their empanadas are all handmade.
Empanada is all handmade. The dough is all handmade. He makes everything right on location. It is fantastic.
Not only is the food good, but he
Fresh.
treats you like gold. So go to Cubita Cafe, 234 Franklin Avenue in Nutley. Check them out. They support us, and we want you to support them. So Ken, we've been in talks for a while to try to get you in here. We're trying our best to coordinate because you're traveling. You got your book, A Cop's Son, coming out, or it's already out, and we're trying to get you in here, and the stars aligned.
Yeah,
Here we are.
amazing. I just happened to be on the East Coast, and I remember we talked. I was in Wyoming, and watching
Yeah.
the sun go down. And
I was at my son's birthday party.
that
when the first
was
time I
it.
talked to
That
you.
was it. Right.
Yeah.
And I was listening to you, watching the antelope actually roaming the property. And yeah, no, I mean, I saw you guys, heard a lot about you, and you seem like terrific people. So I just wanted.
That's not what you said to me before.
Well, anyway,
We're sorry to ruin that perception of you once you meet us in person.
you're okay. You guys are okay.
But it's a weird web that we have these personal connections. Like we know this person and you know this person, and we
Right.
sort of connect. And that's kind of how
Yeah.
172 episodes
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
we've come to meet all these different people.
Yeah. What is it? Those 6 degrees of separation?
Yeah.
Or Kevin Bacon
Kevin
or
Bacon,
something
yeah.
like
6
that?
degrees. I'm really good at that game, by the way. So I got a memory. My memory's fading, but it's still pretty
Kevin's
good.
like an idiot savant.
Yeah.
Hey,
Mainly just an idiot.
Immediately just an idiot. Yeah.
no.
So you traveled all this way. Where'd you grow up?
So, I'm from Brooklyn. Yeah, I grew up in Brooklyn. Lived there for about 15 years, and middle class, lower middle class type upbringing. I lived in a row house. Little tiny little place.
Bay Ridge, Bensonhurst.
Marine Park. Yeah, Marine Park. I went to like a Catholic elementary school, and my father was a NYPD guy, and my mother was from Bay Ridge. So I kind of grew up in the city, and played box ball and stickball.
Stickball in the street.
Or when my dad came home from work, he would actually come on, let's throw the football around in the street, and then we have these little tag football games and touch football.
I often marvel at people who grew up in the city. And I'm talking about New York City, and I can't speak to any place else. I marvel at those people because it's such a chaotic world to me. Listen, even in Atlantic City, it's nothing like New York City. There's still some parks and greenery and places to go. But everybody who does it says they love it.
Yeah, I mean, you always had friends. You knock on doors. Some people could come out, others, wouldn't come out. But you'd always have 2 or 3 friends, and you could do stuff together.
I saw one of those things on Instagram the other day that said, like, if you played football in the street and you yelled "car," that's when you knew you had a good childhood.
Oh, geez. I could write a book about these childhood experiences. playing roller hockey, and watching the puck go down the sewer. And then we had a guy named Louie who was the sewer rat, and we put him down there, and he'd come up.
That was
with
me.
I was all right. You know what I'm talking about?
I was always the smallest kid.
Yeah.
So they always sent me down the sewer to go get the ball.
You got the puck, which is really nothing more than tape, right?
Yeah.
My son and I were watching Wayne's World. And in Wayne's World, they're playing hockey out in the street. And the car, and they move that thing, and it game on. And my son looks at this like it's some sort of foreign ritual.
Yeah.
That was growing up.
They don't do that anymore.
No. That's what I heard.
You know, I live near a cul-de-sac, and they play basketball in the cul-de-sac, so they never have to worry about cars coming or anything like that.
Right, that's right.
So, but it seemed like a lot of fun. From everybody I've spoken to who grew up in the inner city,
sure,
they love it. They move out.
Yeah,
they move out because they don't want their kids to grow up like that for whatever reason.
Right. Yeah, and that's what happened with my father. You know, I guess I was about 15 or so, and he said, "Look, there's a place out in Long Island. I think there's just more greenery out there." And he was into sailboats anyway, so he said, "Come on, let's move."
Well, where was he? What was his precinct?
I mean, he was all over the city, but I remember him mostly growing up in motorcycle precinct number 2 over on Flatbush Avenue. That was perhaps the happiest I've ever seen him in his life as a cop, because he loved motorcycles, loved driving around on them, and he was telling me, he said, motorcycle is clean. And I said, Pop, what do you mean by that? He said, there's corruption in where I work.
Oh.
And so, but motorcycle, there's nothing, little if nothing, going on. And I like that. I like that environment.
What's the time frame we're talking about here?
So, he's there in the mid-60s to, maybe 72, something like that.
Again, those poor guys, they're making $6,000-$7,000 a year.
Yeah,
they're making nothing.
Yeah. I remember he had a kind of a part-time, on a on-call basis with a local paint store, and it's the first time I saw these incredible 64, box of 64 crayons. Like I'm like, whoa! This
Was
is
a sharpener in the back?
Yeah, the sharpener. And I said, wow, that's rich. We never get those, right? But yeah, I mean, he did that once in a while. Just to make ends meet there for a while.
Yeah, I can imagine that the city wasn't cheap back then.
Yeah.
No good.
But once you got out to Long Island, like what changed for you? He's obviously still commuting into the city.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what changed for you growing up?
Well, again, I'm in a boys' Catholic high school for about a year and a half, Nazareth High School around Canarsie, 57th and D. So when I get out to Bayport, where the Hardy Boys is supposedly from.
Yeah.
Troy Donahue was from. All of a sudden, I'm with girls. There were girls.
Wow.
Cute girls.
Look at this.
Here goes the world changes.
Yeah. I'm not paying any more attention.
And you're 15 years old.
And I'm 15, raging hormones.
You're not playing stickball in the street anymore.
No more box ball. No, girls. So.
But you looking at your father coming home every day.
Yeah.
Was it a source of pride? They're not making much money, and police weren't looked at back then.
Yeah.
It wasn't they were looked at poorly.
No.
But it's not like it is today where, he's a cop. Okay, he's okay.
Yeah. He was a really good guy. He was a remarkable person. He was kind of like a cop, but he wasn't a cop because he had like other interests. He could sketch. He did boating. He was a voracious reader. At one time in his life, he was going into the monastery. He was going to be a Trappist monk. It was a difficult time in his life, but so he was well read and he knew a lot of stuff. And he could sing, he could dance, he knew Broadway. I mean, the guy, he was kind of remarkable. He was a very impressive guy.
You're well-rounded.
Well-rounded, and Mike, and when he took like the tests, like a sergeant, lieutenant, all that, he was always finishing like the top 5 because he had like a photographic memory. And he studied hard, And when he's studying for these tests, you wouldn't bother him.
Yeah.
Mom would say, "Stay away from him. Stay out of his way."
It's test time.
It's test time. Exactly.
Did he eventually make rank?
Yeah. So he was there 38 years, and he finished. Yeah. And he finished up as a deputy chief.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, so he was buddies with, Ray Kelly. They were friends, and when Ray Kelly went out on his book tour, my dad was with him for a little bit. And he was friends with Mayor Koch and luminaries like that. So
It's that clean officer image.
yeah. But he started amazingly. He was in the Army for like 2 years during the Korean War, but he was stateside. And then he went into the police department, and he was chosen to join the Glee Club. The Glee Club. He was in the police Glee Club. And he was saying to me, that didn't go over well with the other guys in the...
exactly.
Well, now the NYPD's got the dance team, which is getting
I heard.
torn to shreds.
I heard. Yeah.
I mean, there's so many problems in New York City right now that they got to worry about a dance team.
Yeah.
And that's, the police Glee Club. I don't even think that exists.
That was like the details to get into, though.
It was, yeah. And he was telling me, the commanding officer would say, Mulroney, you'll be walking beat. You're on this, and you're in car 54, Higgins, and Strange. You're in the Glee Club. So it didn't go.
But I guess you get to go to all the cool events.
Yeah, exactly.
He did.
That's what I was saying.
He did. Yeah, networking before networking.
Yeah.
But it only lasted 6 months because NYPD saw to it that it would be disbanded. They needed more street cops. So he said, regrettably, they shut it down because it was kind of an esprit de corps thing that, a lot of people were proud of the Glee Club. So he said, it's too bad it was shut down, but,
Well, they have the pipe band.
Yeah, true.
So
that's right.
The pipe band is no different than the Glee Club.
Right.
And that is looked at very differently. I mean, we're looking at the past through future eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Cops singing in harmony. I'm thinking barbershop quartet, and it's just doesn't sound real good. But put a bunch of guys out there with bagpipes.
Yeah,
that's pretty damn cool.
There was a movie out years ago called Choir Boys, wasn't it? It was all about cops who were singing and all that.
I didn't see that one. I've heard about that one. Yeah.
Well, there's a guy who I follow on Instagram. I've spoken to, a guy named Frankie Ray. He was a cop in I think New Mexico, and now he's this big country music star.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
He was able to actually leave police work to go follow this dream.
Sounds like Eddie Money.
Well, if you think about, right. That's right. I forgot Eddie Money was.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, not so much in the city, but I don't know about you, Mike. I'm driving around in my car on midnights and I'm listening to the radio. I'm singing at the top of my lungs.
But nobody asked you to be in a Glee Club.
No. No. So you move on. Was there ever a pull to join the NYPD? Did your father say? Because there's two ways fathers go. It's either